Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Picture International with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 10th of August, 2023. So, yep, welcome, everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, guys, sorry for slightly a delay in the start of this video. I had a few technical issues here, but hopefully everything is sorted out now. Look, before we jump into the charts, just quickly, just let me double check everything running okay. Yep. So yeah, before we jump into the chart, just as always, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us, guys. So, without further ado, let's jump into the charts. The first one I want to pick up here is China 50 index. Yes, looking at the picture here, you can see that we are still stuck in this triangle pattern. And yes, we did have today, we have a little bit of a decline here. Where we cleared the lower side of it, but we failed to stay below it. So in other words, we're still watching the same game plan over and over. I mean, still, because as I said to you before, that in a way, what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at a possible descending triangle pattern here. And if that's the case, then this should kind of, in a way, according to all the TA rules, technical analysis rules, should break to the downside. But again, at the same time, it might not be even a descending triangle. Maybe it's actually a bullish pennant where we have ourselves a pole here and a very wide bullish pennant. So, and that in that case, then a breakout to the upside could be possible. So, for now, I would say, look, either way, in order to consider the next short-term directional move, we need a clear breakout through one of the sides here. And yes, then we could do something about it. But at this point, yes, it is interesting, but we're waiting. ASX 200. So looking at the picture here, okay, we are trying to climb higher. We're trying to push back above this downside line. And I've mentioned this. I've mentioned this before that in a way, if we do climb back above this downside line, then I'll consider some higher levels, but only up until this downside resistance line drawn from the high of the 27th of July. I get it; it's a little bit on the tentative side, but hey, don't get me wrong, it still could be interesting, still could provide some sort of resistance, and then yeah, we would kind of go from there. For the downside, the same game plan is valid. I need to see a move. I need to see a move below this territory right here. If we do clear it, then great. More sellers could join in. And then, of course, maybe at the same time, we could break the 200-day EMA, potentially even becoming more attractive for the sellers. But again, let's not rush into this. For now, we're testing the upper side here. We're testing that downside line. So at the moment, yeah, let's see if we can stay above it. And look, the markets, I think, like the same as China, is stuck here, and the ASX 200 is also stuck here. Everybody's kind of waiting for the one number that's going to come out today, the US CPI numbers. Not because that's the most important number. No, it's just that I think the hype around that number, and because everybody's going to be trading, there's going to be increased volatility, and maybe then the market could pick a direction. So that's the game plan. That's the game that we're playing here. So okay, let's play along for now. Dow Jones Industrial Average. Look, it's interesting here. Oh, by the way, good. Good morning, everyone in the chat room. Yep, there we go. Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's having a wonderful start of Thursday. So, now, the situation with the Dow here, and it's a little bit tricky. And again, it's this whole undecisiveness just because we're waiting for the number. Yeah, I mean, pretty obvious. So, what I would like to see here is if we want to go higher, then look, the fact that we are still kind of wobbling somewhere around near the lower side of this range, but actually, you know what? I think it's time to get rid of this because it's no longer that. I think it's something else now because, and as much as I would like to call it a falling channel, it's not really a falling channel because, look, it's very close to that, but then again, then I'm kind of ignoring some of these lines, you know, so it's kind of, look, it's a little bit, okay, if you wish to put it as a falling channel, we can, but I really don't like it, to be honest, and it's just kind of somewhere here. Okay, let's put it this way. You know what? Let's consider this as a falling channel. Maybe it's going to be easier. I'm always trying to find like easier ways. This 35,412 territory, which I spoke about previously, this is the highest point of April of 2022, and we are still kind of trading below it. So, look, in a way, it kind of got violated. So I think maybe it's actually time to get rid of it, and maybe I'm going to mark something a little bit closer here, something maybe align around the lines of this. Maybe somewhere this 35,492, or in a way just you can round it up towards the 500. So 35,500 zone could be an interesting one to examine for some higher levels. And if we do break the, okay, let's say the upper side of this falling channel, then and we break above this barrier as well, then yes, potentially more buyers could join in. This I can remove as well. I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna mark this week's low near the 35,077 level. If that gets clear, the forthcoming lower low will be confirmed, and we could then drift a little bit lower within this falling channel. Now, Daredevil Dave, good morning. Good morning to you too. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful start of Thursday. So yes, that's the situation with the Dow. Like I said yesterday, Dow closed in negative territory a little bit. I think that it wasn't the biggest loser. Yeah, the biggest loser yesterday from the top three was Nasdaq. They both of them like kind of tend to move like one performs better than the other one on occasional days. So if it's, let's say, S&P is maybe sometimes closer to the Nasdaq, Dow sometimes can be like the one, you know, that's different. So which is not bad because then maybe you can, you know, play the game differently a little bit. But hey, you know yourselves better. S&P 500. Look, what's happening here? Okay, we are violating this upside line. We're kind of testing it, and no, sorry, my voice is going down a little bit. So we are currently, like I said, testing this upside line, and I talked about it, and I think that you know what, it's maybe time to get rid of it, and I think it's time maybe to just remove it because I think that this hurdle is something a little bit more important. And if we do clear this 4,500 zone, I talked about this, then I'll aim a little bit lower. Initially, of course, towards that 50-day EMA, which is just around the corner here. But if that gets cleared, then yes, we stay below. Then yes, the upside line here, the next this upside line could be possible, drawn from the low the 13th of March. If we are looking for some higher levels, then certainly a push above the 4,557 territory would be confirmed. And then, yes, more buyers here could join in. So, but again, the same story. We're waiting for the US CPI numbers to come out, which, by the way, today is expected to, well, the year-on-year one is expected to go a little bit higher. So it's expected to go from previous 3% to 3.3. And that's the year-on-year headline. The year-on-year, month-on-month one is expected to go or well, go the same, go the same as previous 0.2 plus 0.2. So yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. Of course, we have also the core, which we are going to be watching, because those that's where the ones that are excluding goods and the prices of goods and services, and sorry, not the goods and services, the food and energy. Yeah, so that's measuring, yeah, goods and price of goods and services, and but excluding food and energy. So basically something that is very volatile. So that number is expected to remain the same. Actually, both the year-on-year and month-on-month figures are expected to remain the same. Well, of course, we'll see how that comes out. But look, I talked about this before, and I've mentioned that, look, for now, it seems like the inflation is kind of really rapidly going lower. And again, judging by this week's China's number, which dropped into negative territory, maybe, we could see actually U.S. inflation going further south. And that, of course, would, put the Fed in the position where will they go for more hikes, or actually will they stay, with the current rates for a while. And during the next meeting, which is going to be on the 20th of September, at the moment the expectation is for the number to remain as previous. Again, don't get me wrong, this will change most likely. But if inflation somehow starts picking up again, because look, we're gonna have this number right now, and then we're still gonna have the September number as well before, before the Fed meeting. So that means that if somehow, let's say, today's number increases, and then we see another increase then in September, well, guess what? This one might start rising higher here, and actually maybe then this could even out to 50% each. I'm making this call because, again, I'm just very, very curious, and then like basically more rate hikes maybe could be considered, and that might kind of spook the market a little bit. So look, long story short, at the moment I'm watching the numbers. If by any chance those come out, let's say, much higher than the previous, okay, that might spook, like I said, the stock market a little bit. Maybe put the US dollar might push a little bit higher, but again, temporarily. But then maybe it will adjust itself depending on how numbers will look. I mean, how far we're on higher or not. But if the number comes out lower than the forecast, and then maybe look, or maybe let's say the same as the forecast, maybe the stock market could take it as a positive, and they could say, hey, you know what, it's all okay, just staying at the same level, everything's fine. Maybe the Fed will not go for a higher another hike, or because it's okay, it's kind of stabilized. But look, in general, and yeah, I mean, we could see some short-term gains in the stock market, but that's another scenario. Which one will it be? I have no idea. I don't have a crystal ball. I only have my leather ball right here, and that's why I don't know exactly how it's going to happen. But look, we can try to predict it. We can try to maybe assess, come from the logical perspective, but exactly what's going to happen, we really don't know. So that's why we wait for the number to come out. Then we see the market reaction, and then we do something according to our own trading strategies. So just kind of keep that in mind, guys. But yeah, look, for me, I'm just going from this right now on the S&P 500. If we do fall below this territory, I'm going to lean a little bit more to the downside, up until this upside line. Nasdaq 100. So this one is a little bit more bearish, and yes, I mean, we broke the upside line. We fell below this hurdle. We fell below the 50-day EMA. So in a way, this is opening the door towards that 100-day EMA. So let's see if we can reach that, because to be honest, it's gonna be quite an interesting moment. If we can actually slide further south here, because then maybe the S&P and the Dow will do the same. But again, I cannot really say anything yet, because one index is showing like is a little bit more on the negative side. The other ones are still kind of holding on there. So that's why for now I'm just gonna keep an eye on the on this one right here. I mean, if we do continue to trade below that 50-day EMA, then yes, I'm leaning towards the 100-day EMA. The German index, DAX. Okay, so the German index DAX. Let's see if we have anything interesting today from Europe coming out. No, we only got the Norway's CPI numbers, but I'll get to Norway when I'm going to pick up on the Euro NOK pair, because that could be quite interesting. So look, the German index, and it's you can see that the 100-day EMA held nicely. I talked about this and I said to you that, look, we broke the lower side of this potential idea of a rising wedge. Okay, great. Then we drifted lower, but we found some holdup near the 100-day EMA. Okay, we're resting right now on this one. It's a good area of support, and we're seeing a nice little rebound. The question for now for me is, will we actually get that stronger rebound? And look, that's why my upside scenario is from around here somewhere, from around this 16,100 zone, because if that gets cleared, then maybe at the same time we could climb above the 50-day EMA and potentially more buyers could join in. For the downside, I need to see a drop below this 100-day EMA at this point, because this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to focus on this one in order to go lower, because as you can see here, we keep getting false breakouts, but we're not really getting the body of the daily candle to stay below it. So if we do stay below it, then yes, I will get a little bit more excited with the downside. Now this level here, I need to adjust. I think it's better to maybe mark something around here, this 15,878 zone, and then if we clear that one, maybe that's just going to be like that extra confirmation, you know. Apologies for my voice, guys. Just bear with oh, just bear with me one moment. Just a second, I'll disappear for a little bit. Okay, so apologies for that, guys. Yeah, my voice my voice went down a little bit, so I had to clear it up. But okay, I hope it's going to be better now. But yeah, apologies for that. So yeah, that's the situation. Another thing that I'm really considering here is like, look, if by any chance, I mean, this upside line maybe will actually stop ignore. I mean, we will actually ignore it. We'll stop respecting it. And I think, you know, for now, I think maybe I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to get rid of it, because in a way it kind of worked, but it didn't. So if it's something like this is not working, then, you know, let's redraw everything and let's approach it from a different perspective. I was really hoping that this is going to work out, this rising wedge idea, but hey, not everything works out. What could work potentially is the idea here. If let's say we are going to start, oh, there we go. Yeah, not my day today. Sorry for that, guys. Yeah, I think that it's one of those days where my voice, I think, is not going to cooperate with me, and it's just going to do whatever it wants, and my throat is going to do whatever it wants, and that's why, you know, sorry for these little interferences. But yes, what else I wanted to say? Look, maybe this is going to start ranging. Again, because it's DAX, honestly. DAX ranges, rangy DAX. And it's, yeah, maybe it'll start ranging here. But actually, it's maybe at this point, it wouldn't be a bad thing. Because look, if we do start ranging, then actually I will take it as a bearish indication. Why? Because the prevailing trend was to the downside before we entered the range. And then we start moving sideways, like a little consolidation, and then we break out to the downside. It's like a little pause before another. It's like a continuation pattern, and a little pause before a further move south. So that's why, you know, I really, maybe this time I will enjoy the range here on the DAX again, depending on how long it will drag on for. So, you know, that's another good question. Maybe it's actually going to start moving sideways here for like a month or something, for the whole month of August, just because everybody's going to be on holiday. You know, month of August in general is a little bit on the quiet side, but Who knows? So I'm just giving you this in front. I mean, right now, because maybe, like I said, maybe we could squeeze something out of this. Especially if you're a range trader. Congratulations. You probably would like something like that. But yeah, look. At this point, I'm just going to consider maybe that. But overall, maybe I'm going to be a little bit more on the bearish side, unless it starts popping back above the 16,100 zone and stays above the 50-day EMA. The FTSE 100. So there we go. Beautiful move to the upside, pushed above the 7,570 territory, somewhere around here. I talked about this, and I needed this breakout, and there we go. We got that. So what's next? Next is the 7,622 territory. This is what I'm aiming for. The only thing is that it's not ideal, because maybe it's actually going to go a little bit higher, maybe somewhere here. Let me just put this back. There we go. Maybe it's going to end up maybe towards the 7,644. So look, these two beautiful numbers, 7644 and 7622. So the first one, yeah, the 22, maybe we can reach that one. But if that gets cleared, then we have the 44. And if that goes, above it, then yes, of course, the next target is the main target is the 7,700 territory, approximately around here. And then we will go from there. Maybe we'll break it, maybe not. We'll see. Maybe this will, go for a higher high, maybe not. So just we'll have to go from there. And again, also then maybe we'll have to consider something like this right now, But maybe it's going to be a nice ascending triangle pattern. Who knows? Let's not rush into this. That's why I'm going to get rid of this for now. I'm going to put it later on. USX 200. Sorry, USX 200. ASX 200. USX USD. The dollar index. There we go. There. So at the moment, we're still flirting with this barrier, this 102.65 territory. I need to see a clearance of that in order to go higher. Maybe today we could see something. But, my problem with the US dollar here is that even, let's say, if it drifts lower, let's say it breaks this upside line, I am actually bearish, a little bit more bearish from this territory, from this 101.59 zone. Why? Because maybe, let's say, it breaks the upside line, goes lower, tests this territory, and rebounds. And then what? And then we might see a range. And then if that's the case, then maybe it's actually going to pop higher later on with the same, just because of the same story as here, as on DAX. Maybe it's going to be like, a continuation pattern. So the prevailing trend was to the upside, then we start, ranging, and then, if that's, let me just actually remove this, and let me just grab this line here. So maybe something like this, could be possible. So, yep, let's keep an eye on it, and let's see if that's going to be the case. But for now, something for you to consider. If we do pop straight away above this barrier, great, then that's just a nice general move trend to the upside. And then we'll go for or at least I will go for the 200-day EMA initially, and if that gets cleared, then I have my two levels here, the 103.23, 20.27 areas, approximately around there. These could be nice, good targets. Gold. Gold, I mean, mission accomplished. Look, I've talked about this from the beginning of this week, right? Okay. I said to you that my target is the 200-day EMA as long as we stay below this this area right here, this 1945-46 zone. And look, I said to you that if we struggle to break it, then yes, we could go lower. And also yesterday I've marked this little hurdle, this 1929-30, something like that, around here. And I said to you that if we do clear it, then yes, I'll get a little bit more comfortable with the downside, where I'm going to aim for that 200-day EMA, which is around the 1918 level, somewhere around there. And there we go. Beautiful move. Now my question is actually, will we go further south? Now, I'll mark very quickly the low of this week, the current lowest point of this week, near the 1914 zone. And if that gets cleared, then yes, it's going to be interesting if we can actually go further south and aim for this. Well, first of all, actually, the 1900 level, which is a nice, very, very nice target right here somewhere. And if that gets, yes, cleared, then I have this 1893 zone, which is the lowest point of June. And by the way, I think No. Sorry, the lowest point of this year is somewhere around here. Yeah, there we go. That's the current lowest point of this year is around the 1800 level. So 1807, something like that, 06, 07. But again, we're a little bit far from there. For now, let's not rush into anything. For now, let's just stick to what we got. And what do we have right now is the, yes, a commodity which is currently testing its 200-day EMA. And yes, let's see if it can go further below it. If it does, well, like I said, this could be very interesting for the sellers. But again, maybe for the bulls later on, but for the sellers in the short run. For the upside, look on this one. For the upside, I think this downside line needs to be redrawn a little bit differently, and maybe something like this could be possible. So if we do drop below the 1914 zone right here, then yes, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, and potentially more sellers could join in. In order to go to the upside, I would say I would need to see a break at least of this downside line drawn from the high of the 27th of July, and then yeah, I will consider some higher moves, or at least in the near term, and then we'll just kind of go from there. Look, today the way you can today how you can play this one out with gold is basically watching this little fella, the US dollar, because again the way this one's going to play out, this will have a direct effect on gold and on this XAU USD. So that's why be careful. Be cautious. Don't maybe rush into anything. Just wait for the numbers maybe to come out, and then maybe you can do something about this one. But at this point, like I said, it's just gonna probably up until all the way up until the news. I think it's just gonna bounce around here somewhere, just not do anything. Yeah. So well, like I said, let's see. Let's see how this is gonna play out. Now, silver. Silver, yes, continues to drift lower, so nothing new here. And to be honest, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because I said to you that if we do break and stay below this upside line, I'm leaning towards the downside. In general, look, I'm kind of hoping to see some further declines here, and if I'm hoping to see further declines here, then most likely the same is going to happen here, which to be honest I wouldn't mind. But yes, again, let's not rush into anything. I would, if it wouldn't be like these US CPIs today, I would say yes, I'm just purely aiming lower and that's it. But because it's such a day, maybe we'll have a nice reversal here back to the upside, and then this situation here on silver would be a little bit more how to say it, interesting maybe from the weekly chart perspective, because then we'll have ourselves a false breakout on the weekly candle, because as you can see so far we have declined quite a lot. But yeah, let's if we look at the weekly chart. But if we go back to the daily, it is leaning towards the downside from the technical perspective, but because it's such a day, we need to be a little bit more cautious. We cannot exclude a sharp reversal back to the upside here, back above this upside line drawn from the low of the 9th of March. Oil. This one is an animal. I mean, look at this. Look at it go. Let me just check the weekly. Yes, I mean, in general, oil has been on a rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th week in a row. Okay, that is interesting, of course, but my main interest right now, will we be able to stay above this 83.54 territory, this highlighted zone here this week? Yes, that it's pushing higher. Okay, but will we be able to stay this week above it? If we do, okay, the next week is going to be an interesting one as well. Maybe we'll go a little bit higher. Maybe we could see a bit of a retracement in some board. But at this point, I would say, look, I'm not chasing this one. In general, I was aiming for this territory, for the 83.54, and I talked about this even last week, if you remember. So my target got reached, and now because we're breaking this, okay, look, I'm bullish, but I'm a little bit cautiously bullish because we had a really good run already, and looking at the weekly chart, I mean, this has been quite a significant, like I said, bull run. Last time we had like what 7 weeks in a row was like back here, I think. Yeah, that's what I can see here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, even 8 weeks here. Then before that we had it here. So we still have like a little down day at some point, but like I mean, very rarely. But look. Okay, if we're judging by this logic here, if we're, let's say, we're going to see a further move north, maybe it's next week or maybe the week after will be a bit of a down week and we'll see a little correction. But if we're following something like pattern like this, then maybe, yeah, maybe a nice explosion here to the upside could still be possible in oil, like a larger explosion. This is a gradual move higher. But if, let's say, it stabilizes or, let's say, starts even moving sideways, that's like, yeah, that's still a bullish indication. As I said, the prevailing trend was to the upside. It starts ranging, and maybe that could, lead to some higher levels later on. But again, let's not rush into anything. For now, let's go slowly. If you're trying to chase this one, look, I will say this way. I personally am not chasing this one. I want to let it settle because maybe it will, like I said, start moving sideways here or something like that. If it starts breaking this upside line, okay, great. That's where, that's where, from where we could start maybe looking at some lower levels. But while we remain above this upside line, yes, I'm kind of leaning towards the upside. But because we already had quite a good extension here to the upside, and we moved nicely to the upside, I don't, from like $67 to $84 in a matter of what, like a month, well, roughly month and a half maybe. That's quite a good run, and that's why I'm not going to rush into anything for now. I'm just going to observe the price action. I'm going to leave it there, and then I'll go from there once I see some more clarity. Ethereum. So jumping into a few cryptos. I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, to be honest. And look, let me remove everything. Actually, no. I'm not going to remove everything. I'm just going to remove this. This didn't. Okay, this kind of worked in a way. I said to you before, this upside line. If we clear it, I'll go lower. But I was aiming for this 200-day EMA and this upside line, and we didn't really go all the way there. So yeah, it really didn't work as planned. So I think I will kind of redraw this a little bit. One thing that might be working is something like this. If I extend this upside line, we can see that it's kind of providing a resistance right now. So if it continues to do so, then yes, I will get a little bit more excited with the downside, of course. I mean, because again, if this upside line kind of acts as a resistance barrier, then yes, I mean, we will see that the bulls are struggling to push back above it. If they push back above it, okay, great. More buyers could join in, and you know what? This is where I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna draw my arrow this way, and if we do climb back above the 50-day EMA and we push above this upside line, then yes, I will slowly start aiming to the upside. But at this point, there is still potential for some downside, and yes, if we continue to trade below this little short-term upside support line, then yes, my next target is this bigger, little medium-term, or more of a longer-term upside support line drawn from the low of the 22nd of November. Bitcoin Cash, this one, there we go. We struggled with this barrier. This is why I said to you, I am looking for a break here, this 250 zone, and I'm not getting it. So I still need to see that push through this territory in order to get comfortable with higher levels. Well, once I get that, then I'll examine higher levels. But at this point, I'm not. Even with the downside, my problem with the downside is that now at this point, look, yesterday I marked this 217 territory, but maybe actually we could already start looking at some lower levels from around here, from around this 220 zone. If we do break this upside, this 50-day EMA, then that's going to be like the first step towards examining lower levels. Then I will keep an eye on this 220 zone, and then yes, so on and so on. But while we're remaining here, I'm just observing the price action. Ripple, again, similar story. We found good resistance near the 0.6686. I talked about this as well. So there we go. We are struggling with this barrier. So once we get a break above it, then we'll And then I'll get a little bit more excited with the upside. With the downside, as I said before, yesterday, I need to see a drop below the 0.5961 territory in order to go a little bit to the downside. Dogecoin, something that I didn't look for quite a while. Didn't look at for quite a while. Yes. So we are coiling up. That's one important thing here. We are coiling up and we are watching it very, very carefully. Now, we are coiling up, and it seems like we're waiting for for Musk to say something again, to do something again, because this Elon coin has to move on that mainly. It doesn't move much on anything else. It's just moving on the news of Elon Musk. So look, long story short, unless something else comes out, like the very regulatory, but at the moment we're kind of quiet on that front. It's mainly like Ripple, the moment, the Ripple SEC case. But if you're looking for some sort of a level here, I would say this way, that if we do, well, for the upside, I don't have a level, but I have this downside line. If we do break this downside line, I'll go higher. For the upside, yeah, for the downside, I need to see a drop, yes, below this area, and also maybe just for that extra confirmation below the 0.0718 mark. That's the lowest point of this week. If we do get that drop, then yes, potentially more sellers could join in, and then we could drift towards the 0.0634 territory, and then we'll, or actually before that, I do like this little hurdle here. There we go. The 0.0664 could be a nice good target in the beginning, and then we'll take it from there. AUDUSD. So, jumping into a few pairs now. AUDUSD is still interesting because, look, I talked about this and I said to you that I'm watching these two levels. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because it's, again, the same analysis, the same game plan. If we do pop above the 0.66 territory, then yes, I'll consider maybe a bit of a move higher, but then slowly, because I need to see a clearance of this downside line. And then if that happens, then I'll go for this this downside line drawn from the high of the 14th of July. For the downside scenario, I need to see a drift below the 0.65 territory in order to consider some lower levels. Until I get that, I'm not really doing anything while we remain in here. And by the way, this level, these two levels, I think need to go away. Yeah, I think it's time for me to say goodbye to them. Let's do that. Maybe this one I will keep, but actually no. You know what? No, I'm not gonna overcomplicate life here, and I'm just gonna for now I'm just gonna stick to this territory. I mean, if this is gonna remain in here, I'm just observing the price action. Once it starts getting out of this, then I'll do something about it. Maybe today we'll see a move or something like that. Maybe, US dollar will help out here, but I'm not rushing for anything yet. AUDJPY. So this one, yeah, my risk on and off environment indicator. So as you can see, the stock market is really not giving up, and you can see that clearly in AUDJPY, which is like I said, which is that monitor of the risk on environment. So when everything's kind of still okay, it's rising. When everything starts getting down the drain in the stock market world, then yes, everybody's jumping into JPY because it's a safe haven. Then people are jumping away from the commodity linked currencies like AUD, and that's why we get AUDJPY drifting lower when the time goes bad. But if everything is okay, this one rises nicely, and there we go. So far, that's why I'm saying that with indices is not that straightforward, although maybe they're kind of pointing a little bit to the downside. But look, this one is actually pushing higher, so that's why I'm not I want to see this one maybe dropping back below the 93.77 territory, somewhere around here. If we do drop, maybe we'll consider some lower levels, but to be honest, my comfortable scenario is from around here. So you know what, for now I'm kind of, let's say, carefully aiming higher towards this downside line, as long as we stay above the 50-day EMA. But if we struggle, maybe a bit of a retracement here could be possible. So long story short, I will aim higher. Yes, but as long as we stay right now above this 93.77 territory. If we also climb and stay above the 50-day EMA, that will be just a nice added bonus for me. CHFJPY, just wanted to quickly update you on this one. And finally, there we go. We're seeing some sort of positivity, more positivity, and we're breaking this barrier again. Early hours of the European morning right now. So let's see what's going to happen further, if this is going to get maintained like this. If somehow the stock market in the US, for example, starts falling apart, then expect this pair maybe actually reversing sharply to the downside just because of the yen buying. But at the moment, everything's looking fine. Everything's looking quite positive. Let's go higher. USDJPY, there we go, another one that's going higher, and this one's breaking this upper side of the triangle pattern, and we're also breaking that 143.90 zone. And so far, we're staying above this downside line, so that's good. In a way, I'm going to continue targeting the upside as long as we stay above this downside line. If we start pushing back below it, I'll take a neutral position, because my downside scenario would be somewhere from around here, maybe from around that 141.95 territory right there. USDCAD. This one, yes, good result here, good push higher, but now we're retracing. I talked about this and I said to you that even if we do retrace, as long as we stay somewhere above this highlighted zone or this 200-day EMA, then yes, I will remain positive. But right now we can see that, okay, it's declining. But if we somehow, let's say, drop back below the 200-day EMA and stay below it, I will consider a bit of a retracement here, a correction back down. USDCHF, haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but I just wanted to quickly run it by you. Look, I want to clear up the chart here a little bit. I think that some of these levels are no longer needed, maybe, but one level that I'm really still sticking to is this one, the long highlighted zone. Because look, this is the lowest point of 2021. And what I said to you before is that, look, we might see oscillation around this area, around this hurdle. Why? Because of the monthly chart. Because look, I mean, that's what I'm looking at right now. If we somehow stay at the end of the month, this month, we stay below this hurdle, then maybe there's a greater chance that we could see, a further decline here. But if we stay above it, then maybe we could start seeing maybe a larger correction here to the upside. So that's why I'm not rushing into anything, and I'm just observing this one. We have these downside lines here, which could be nice to examine. The first one would be this one, the one drawn from the high of the 31st of May. If we do, let's say, remain above this hurdle, above the 0.8757 territory, which I've just mentioned, that lowest point of 2021, then yes, I will aim for this downside line. And if that gets cleared, then yes, certainly we have another downside line right here, taken from the high of the 8th of March, which also, by the way, could coincide with the 100-day EMA right there. But yeah, look, if that doesn't really kind of work well for you, then don't get me wrong. I totally understand you, because again, it's not ideal. My downside scenario will be somewhere from around here, from around this 0.87 territory. If we do fall below it, then yes, I'll go a little bit lower. GBPCAD, there we go, beautiful hold up near this 1.7110. So couple of false breakouts, and there we go, we're drifting back to the downside. So look, at the moment I'm gonna lean towards this upside line drawn from the low of the 24th of July, but don't get me wrong, it's a very tentative one, so don't really focus on it too much, because if that, at the moment, I would say what you can focus on is the 50-day EMA. But even that's a problem, honestly. Like, even that's a problem, because look, I mean, we kind of violated a few times, we oscillated around it, but it didn't really. So at this point, maybe, like I said, maybe for now I'll stick to this upside line. I want to see. I'm not a huge believer in it still, but I need to believe in something here at the moment. Maybe this 1.7018 level as well could be nice, but again, if that gets broken, then the upside line gets broken. So then, maybe it could work out. But But yeah, that's the downside scenario. But from the very, very short-term perspective, I'm aiming for this upside line. If by any chance we reverse higher and we start again pushing above the 1.7110 zone, then I'll get a little bit more comfortable with higher levels, and then I'll do something about it. But I need to see the body of the daily candle staying, and you can see why I'm asking that. GBPUSD. Again, something that we're going to be watching today carefully. And yes, and of course, we're going to be watching it carefully tomorrow because we have the GDP numbers coming out from UK. So that's going to be an interesting one. Look, for now, I would say this way, that if we do break this downside line, and then yes, I'll go for higher levels. If we do drop below this 1.2666 territory, I'll go for lower levels, and I'll of course, here we have the 100-day MA as well, which could, play out nicely. So if that gets cleared, well, guess what? It could open the door towards that 200-day EMA. So for now, long story short, that's while we're remaining here, I'm just observing the price action. Euro NOK, just very quickly on this one, we got the Norwegian CPI numbers. So if you are interested in Euro NOK or USD NOK, so here I'm picking up on Euro NOK, and actually a while ago I did pick up on this one. I talked about this idea of a descending triangle pattern. It worked out. Okay, that's great. So we did get that drop. We moved towards the 200-day EMA. That was my target. Okay, we moved a little bit lower, but that's fine. Can't be greedy. So now what's next? Well, similar story as with DAX. Maybe we have ourselves something of a range here or something like that, but something among the lines of these. So if that's the case, then we are ranging, then that means that we could be, the prevailing trend was to the downside. So technically speaking, then maybe actually we could see some more downside later on. But for that, we need to see a clearance of the lower side here of this potential idea of a range, and then yes, we could go further south. Yeah, so that's a simplistic approach. The Norwegian CPI numbers came out. The headline numbers did come out lower. Yep, lower than the forecast. The core numbers came out higher. So okay, so the services increased. Food actually decreased. Food and energy did fall a little bit, as you can see here. Maybe that gets subsidized or something like that, but yeah, the rest is still kind of on a higher side. And that's why we're having we don't have a really clear indication of what's happening here. So we're going to be waiting for this one to make a move. Euro Aussie, very quickly on this one. So we are struggling with this highlighted zone, this barrier, which is roughly between the 1.6766 and 1.6787. If we stay above this area, then yes, I'll go higher. If we do drop and stay below this, then yes, I will consider a larger correction here to the downside towards this upside line drawn from the low of the 15th of June. And then yes, we will go from there. So long story short, I would say if you're looking for some higher levels, then yes, we wait for this one to make a move here, a stronger move to the upside, maybe start clearing some of these recent highs. Then yes, more buyers could join in. But if you're looking for some downside, then well, maybe a break of something like this. This is me trying to improvise here a little bit. Maybe a break of this upside line could be useful. Let's see if this is something like this maybe working. Okay, this could be nice as well. So let's okay, but you know what? No, I think that this is me trying to see something where it's not, so that's why let's stick to this. If we do clear this one, this upside line drawn from the low of the 2nd of August, then yes, I'll consider a bit of a retracement here. EURJPY also, well, because it's a yen pair, that's why we're seeing this one pushing nicely to the upside. And as I talked about this one before, I said to you from the beginning of this week, keep your eyes on that 158 territory. If we pop above it, this could open the door towards some higher levels. And so far, so good. But the question is, will we stay above this area? That's a good one, because again, keep your eyes today on the US CPIs, and keep your eyes on the yen, and on the stock market, again, on the dollar, and on everything basically, because if somehow the stock market starts drifting sharply to the downside, maybe people will start jumping into yen. So just think about this one. And finally, EURUSD. Okay, so also something that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. Look, we broke my downside line. Okay, in a way, I'm kind of saying, okay, maybe I'm a little bit more on the bullish side now. But to be honest, just the same story as I've mentioned already, can't remember which one. It's because this day is like this. That's why we cannot really purely rely on something like technicals. We need to have a look at the fundamentals too. So let me get rid of this downside line. I have to say that it's no longer needed. So what's needed for me right now is a break either above the 1.1050 territory, somewhere around here, in order to consider some higher levels. And for the downside, I need to see a drop below the 1.0912, 18 zone, somewhere around here, and then I could go a little bit lower. So yeah, that's the situation here, guys. Oh, by the way, just to let you know, tomorrow is my 100 episode. So yeah, my 100 episodes. I'm very happy that you keep on watching me. So really appreciate that, guys. But yeah, I hope I'm not disappointing you. With my videos. I hope you're finding them useful. And yeah, I hope I'm going to continue seeing you here with me. So thank you very much for your support till now. I mean, I'll thank you very much for your support in the future as well. But yeah, join me tomorrow morning for my 100th episode. And I hope you'll have a good trading day today. I hope everything goes well for you, and don't rush into anything, guys. Just take it as it is. Just go from what you have, and everything will be fine. Don't rush. Have your stop losses in place. Risk only what you can afford to lose, and everything will be fine. So I'll see you tomorrow. And have a nice trading day. Bye bye. If you want to continue to please the trading gods, subscribe to our channel for a blessing.